Morning, TJ. How are you today? Okay. Did you go out biking last weekend?
I did. I rode my bike on Saturday from Pasadena, where I live, to Moore Park and back.
Wow.
Huh? Little windy up in Cedar Valley.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But it was nice.
And how many hours was that?
7.5.
That's pretty much the whole day then, isn't it?
Well, I got back at like 3. So then I ate 2 dinners.
You did what?
I ate 2 dinners.
Oh. Did you, after a long ride like that, do you kind of rest or relax the rest of the day?
Yeah, I don't do I walk my dog, but I don't really do any other physical activity. Not much. Sometimes we'll go to Old Town or something to grocery shopping or somewhere, and just go get dinner. Not really a lot. Yeah.
Understandable.
Yeah.
After a long ride like that.
Yeah.
What part of Pasadena do you live in?
Kind of by the Rose Bowl. Glen.
I used to work in Pasadena.
Yeah, where have you been there? I've been set up for like 20 years.
I haven't been there way before. Way back in late 80s, early 90s. So I haven't been really up there a lot.
Yeah, it's nice. It's changed.
Good morning, audio test 1, 2. This is TJ Knight, Assistant Executive Officer with the Board of Public Works. Good morning to all of our attendees here with joining us in person at the board hearing room. We are going to experience just a short delay before we get started. Some of the elevators in City Hall are offline, and so we may get started in about 10 to 12 minutes, so I apologize for that delay. Good morning as well to our attendees joining us on the virtual platform. If there's anyone on the virtual platform who wishes to offer commentary on any of our items this morning or public comment, please press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute. Identify yourself for the record, which item you'd like to speak on, and I will record your information. If there's anyone joining us here in our hearing room who wishes to offer public comment or commentary on any of our items, please fill out a speaker card located in the back of the room on the table. Indicate which item you'd like to speak on and hand it to me. And as I said, we are going to experience just a short delay. We should get started in the next 10 minutes or so. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Once again, TJ Knight, Assistant Executive Officer. If there's anyone here joining us in the room who would like to offer commentary on any of our items this morning or public comment, please fill out a speaker card located in the back of the room. Indicate which item you'd like to speak on and your name, and hand it to me. And also, if there's anyone joining, good morning to everyone joining us via the virtual platform. I do see one hand raised on Zoom. I'm going to ask that caller ending in 264, please unmute. Star 6 to unmute. I'm sorry, star 6 to unmute. Identify yourself for the record and which item you'd like to speak on, sir or ma'am.
James, public comment, please.
Thank you, James. Is there anyone else? I'm going to go ahead and put you back on mute, James, for now. We haven't started the actual meeting yet. Is there anyone else who is joining us via Zoom who would like to offer public comment or commentary on any of our agendized items this morning? I do see someone joining us via Zoom with the name Jessica Picon. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name.
Hi, good morning. My name is Jessica Picon. I'm here representing Access Pacific. Thomas Torres is unavailable to attend the meeting. He's on a flight. So I'm just here representing Access Pacific on item number 7.
Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate that. We will have a request. We do have a request on the table that will likely be granted to continue item number 7 to February 23rd.
Okay.
So I appreciate you coming and identifying that you're with Access Pacific. However, there's a high likelihood that you will not need to provide input on today's meeting. However, if you would make a note that it is likely that meeting will be item 7 will be continued to February 23rd.
Okay, so is it okay for me to leave the meeting and just come back this February 23rd?
I would encourage you to stay, Jessica, I would encourage you to stay on until we begin the meeting. The first 5 minutes, we should address this continuation. And so if possible, can you stay on for about 5 to 7 minutes?
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and put you back on mute, Jessica. Is there anyone else joining us on the virtual platform who wishes to offer commentary on any of our items this morning or public comment? All right, thank you so much. And I'm going to estimate that we will get started in the next 3 minutes or so. Thank you. And President Garcia, we are now in record mode.
Great, thank you for that. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the regular scheduled meeting for the Board of Public Works for Wednesday, February 14, 2024. TJ Knight?
Yes, President Garcia, good morning. Madam President, TJ Knight, Assistant Executive Officer, taking role in establishing quorum. President Garcia, Vice President Villegas, President Pro Tem Davis, and Commissioner Corsand are present. We are also joined by City Attorney Representative Virginia Choi. Once again, I'm Assistant Executive Officer TJ Knight. President Garcia, we have one speaker card on the virtual platform under public comment. We have no neighborhood council commentary, and we do have a real party of interest on item number 7. On that note, I would like to state for the record that we do have a request by Commissioner Davis to continue item number 7 to February 23rd.
Okay, any objections on that? Hearing none. Item number 7 will now be continued to February 23rd, 2024.
Thank you so much, President Garcia. So just a quick note for the attendee joining us via the virtual platform. Your item is now continued to February 23rd. Thank you.
Thank you for that, TJ Knight. Mr. Knight, can we also take public comments since you said we had one via the Zoom platform?
Yes. Caller James, I'm going to ask you to unmute, *6 to unmute. You will have 2 minutes to offer your public comment. Starting now.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes. Again, we are having the same problem with the illegal mobile restaurants on the sidewalk with structures, tables and chairs. And some of the structures are being tied down to utility poles, which are on the sidewalk. And I've talked to Mr. David Rivera, who is, I guess, the chief, of Bureau of Street Services. And he told me that they don't have any authority to remove them. So I'm thinking, so does that create a liability for the city? Because something is going to happen eventually. Are not giving enough access to people to be mobile. You have cars moving in and out in between them, and obviously we have kids because it's a residential area, and we also have them in our residential areas on special events like Ash Wednesday, other events that the church has. They come, they set up structures. They then in between vehicles, and nobody does anything. So we pay property taxes, and it seems like that doesn't seem to give us any relief from this situation that's been going on for years, a long time. And we also have a statue there, St. Jude.
Thank you. And that concludes our public comment.
Thank you for that, Mr. Knight. Given that that is the last public comment is now officially closed for today. Second. Moving on to the first item in today's business, which is the approval of the minutes of Wednesday, January 31st, 2024. Is there a second to my motion to approve this item? Thank you, Dr. Davis. Mr. Knight, there's a first by me and a second by Dr. Davis to approve the minutes of Wednesday, January 31st, 2024.
Very well. We'll take a roll call vote, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas. Aye. President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corsand.
Aye.
All ayes, and that item is approved.
Thank you so much for that. All right, well, welcome everyone to Wednesday, St. Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's to everyone, and I hope you have a nice special time with your loved ones today and every day. With that said, we are right in the middle of February, going on to our second month, right in the middle of our first quarter of the year, and excited to start today's agenda. Unless anybody has special requests or a special Valentine message, I will get started today with item number 1. This is a request from the Bureau of Engineering and Council District 14 with a budget increase and revised task order solicitation number 6. Tetra Tech Inc. 6th Street Park Arts and River Connectivity Improvements Project. Recommending the board to 1, authorize the city engineer to issue a revision of the task for number 6 to Tetra Tech Inc., increasing the budget authority from $1,748,824 to $2,981,085, including contingency, for design and support services for the 6th Street Park Arts and River Connectivity Improvement Project. And this morning we have Mr. Lamb here. Mr. Lamb, good morning. Good to see you out of the emergency orders. Welcome.
Thank you. All right, good morning. My name is Gary Lamb from the Bureau of Engineering Architectural Division. The board report before you pertains to the 6th Street Park project. BOE is requesting that the board authorize the city engineer to issue a revision to task order number 6 to Tetra Tech, increasing the budget authority from $1,748,824 to $2,981,085, including contingency for design and support services. The 6th Street Park project is currently in construction and consists of the development of a brand new 12-acre park beneath and adjacent to the 6th Street Viaduct. BOE is requesting a revision to the task order for the design consultant to support ongoing activities during construction. The reasons for requesting the revision are as follows. First, the construction contract was issued with a number of value engineering items, which requires redesign from Tetra Tech. Table 1 in the report lists the items which have been modified in the construction contract. For example, Tetra Tech will need to redesign portions of the East Park building and make landscaping and electrical modifications. Second, the project has added an urban forest south of the Arts Plaza as part of the scope of work from the award of the Prop 68 State Parks Grant. The urban forest is envisioned as a new landscaped area with native planting and a canopy of shade trees. Tetra Tech will need to design this area. Third, the construction project requires a biological bat survey, cultural and paleontological monitoring, and a Native American monitor to comply with the requirements of the environmental document. These surveys and monitoring services were not captured in the original task order, since the original environmental document was still being prepared at the time, and we could not predict the scope of the monitoring that was going to be part of the contract. Finally, the construction duration is 30 months, but Tetra Tech's original task order was only for 18 months of design support services. Therefore, an additional 12 months is being added so that Tetra Tech can provide design support for the full duration of construction. Funding for the budget increase for the task order is sourced from MICLA funding, and this increase has been verified by the Office of Accounting. This concludes my report, and we'll put to any questions the board may have.
Thank you for that, Mr. Lamb. I appreciate that. Any questions, colleagues? Dr. Davis?
In terms of the projected time for the duration and completion of the project, do we have an estimated time about the length of time it'll take to complete?
Yes, so this is a 2.5-year construction contract. The contract is expected to, or anticipated to complete construction in the spring of 2026.
And I'm sorry if I did not hear you, but as it relates to the business improvement program, is that a part, or will it be a part of this project in terms of us doing the outreach to small businesses and that kind of thing?
So as part of this task order, the consultant is required to perform the business inclusion program outreach. That is correct.
Thank you so much.
Good to hear that. Any other questions, colleagues? Mr. Lamb, did I hear you correctly? Complete construction by?
Spring of 2026.
Wow, that's in
Anticipated.
2 years from now, right?
That's correct.
That's a pretty aggressive also timeline, so thank you for that. Okay, so can I ask one other question? Are the renderings finalized already for the design and the renderings for this 12 acres
Yes.
confirmed and okay,
Yes, we do have renderings we can share with the
okay.
commission.
And they're finalized?
That's correct.
Okay. If you don't mind, after today's meeting, if you can send that over to me, please?
Sure.
Thank you. I'm sure I've seen them before, but it's been a while again. And I see a picture on the report, but I don't know if that's the complete renderings for the 12 acres completely. Okay, Any other questions, colleagues? Hearing none. Any concerns? Hearing none. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 1 forward and forthwith? Thank you, VP Villegas. Is there a second? Thank you, Dr. Davis. Mr. Knight, there's a first by VP Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 1 forward and forthwith.
Very well. We'll take a roll call vote on item number 1, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Korsand.
Aye.
All ayes, and the item is approved. I would just like to bring to the presiding officer's attention that we do have a caller ending in 264. I believe his name is James, who has raised his hand. If you like, I can see if he wishes to offer commentary on the next item number 2. or
Yeah,
if it's-
let's close this one and then we'll see what that caller is looking for to do.
Very
Okay.
good.
Mr. Lam, thank you so much for your time this morning. You are approved now and look forward to this design and the construction the next 2 years.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's see what the caller is looking for.
Very good. James, caller ending in 264. I see that you've raised your hand. Do you wish to offer commentary on one or more of our remaining items on our agenda today? If you please press *6 to unmute and indicate which items you'd
Can you
like
hear
to.
me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I got jammed up when I was giving my public comment. There was some kind of weird digital jam going on. I don't know what it was, but I just wanted to let you know that it's just feedback. That's
Okay, I appreciate that.
So-
Thank you for bringing that to my attention, James. You did exhaust your 2 minutes in public comment. But I appreciate
Right,
you
so
noting that for
were
me.
you able to hear me?
Yes, we could hear you in public comment, and we can hear you now. Do you wish to offer commentary
Okay.
on any of the remaining items, James?
No. I just wanted to let you know that something's wrong with your system, and somebody had jammed the digital frequency up, and I was hearing nothing but feedback. I couldn't hear anything.
Thank you, James.
Like somebody.
Thank you. We were able to hear public comment clearly. Thank you for that. Moving on to item number 2, this is a request from the Bureau of Engineering for a budget increase and revised task order solicitation number 15-031, Converse Consultant, Inc., Bayona Creek Water Quality Improvement Project. Is it Bayona or Valona? Bayona, okay, got it. Recommending the board to, 1, authorize the city engineer to issue a revision of the task order number 15-031 to Converse Consultant, Inc., increasing the budget authority from $133,869.92 to $320,158,000.62, including contingency for continued geotechnical construction, monitoring, and related services for the Bayona Creek Water Quality Improvement Project. This morning, we have Mr. Smith here. Mr. Smith, good to see you, sir. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you. Patrick Schmidt, Bureau of Engineering, Geotechnical Engineering Division. As President Garcia just said, this board report is for revision to task order solicitation number 15-031 to Converse Consultants for the Bayona Creek Water Quality Improvement Project to increase the budget authority from $133,869.92 to $320,158.62, including contingency for the continued geotechnical construction monitoring and related services for the project. On July 20th, 2022, the board approved the 2022 to 2027 pre-qualified on-call list of geotechnical environmental consultants. The contract with Converse was executed on November 2nd, 2022, and will expire on November 1st, 2027. The scope of work for this revised task is presented in transmittals number 1 and 2. Converse is providing geotechnical construction monitoring services for the project, including observation of shoring installation, tieback testing and monitoring, and testing during grading and fill placement. The construction includes a 50-foot deep excavation for proposed pump station and a tunnel connecting the adjacent Bayona Creek channel with the pump station. During construction, groundwater was encountered shallower than anticipated. We believe this is potentially due to the storms of last year. In addition, the United States Army Corps of Engineers, who has jurisdiction over the channel, rejected the shoring submittal that the contractor proposed for the project, which would include construction of tiebacks within the embankment. As a result of the shoring submittal being rejected in the shallower water, the system had to be redesigned. The dewatering system and the shoring systems had to be redesigned. And these and other factors have extended the project's construction duration, requiring additional monitoring services by Converse beyond the previously estimated scope of work. Currently, construction is anticipated to be completed in April of 2025. This revised task is subject to business inclusion program outreach requirements. The city has established anticipated participation levels of 18%, minority-owned business enterprise, 4% women-owned business enterprise, 25% small business enterprise, 8% emerging business enterprise, and 3% disabled veteran business enterprise. For this task, Converse is pledging an MBE participation of 5.3%, WBE participation of 0%, SBE participation of 5.3%, EBE participation of 5.3%, and a DVBE participation of 0%. We did talk to Converse about the local percentages, and one of the conditions is that approximately 25% of Converse's budget for this task is to provide Los Angeles certified deputy grading inspectors to observe the field activities. According to Converse, they were not able to find any available approved sub-consultants that had available inspectors. So we did talk to them about doing additional outreach in an effort to get more certified sub-consultants, certified inspectors to their sub-consultants to participate in future task orders. So they're going to try to improve their participation levels in future task orders. Funding for this revision funding for the revisions to this TOS for this project in the amount of $186,288.70, including contingency, is available in Fund 63F, Department 50, Appropriation Unit 50 VAEG. This concludes my presentation of this board report. I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Smith. Any questions to Mr. Smith?
Yeah, I just wanted some basic understanding of the project in terms of the issue of geotechnical construction that we're doing in the area. Can you just simply explain to me what our goal is in terms of the monitoring in this particular area? I know that our overall aim is to improve water quality in the Bologna Creek area. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's what the project is for.
And as it relates to geotechnical construction, could you explain to me that?
Typically on our construction projects, there's an element of geotechnical construction monitoring to document and certify all the earthwork and the shoring designs, the shoring installation systems. And that's our role out there, our sub-consultants, or excuse me, our consultants' role is to monitor all that and document it. And then at the end of the construction, they'll prepare a written report to document everything, so we'll have it on record and we'll present that to ConAd building inspectors, ConAd inspectors to just be on file and document that everything was done and approved in accordance with the project specifications and plans.
You mentioned in your report that through the construction, there was a need for them to go back and do some redesign or something of that nature. Could you explain that situation and why that occurred?
The contractor proposed a dewatering design based on an assumed groundwater level from the geotechnical report, which was done several years ago. And when they started construction and started the project, they encountered water at a shallower elevation, so they had to design a different dewatering system to accommodate the larger water pressures. That was one of the issues. Then the contractor also proposed a shoring system for this 50-foot deep excavation that would require tiebacks, which are just rods that are installed into the ground behind the shoring system to stabilize it and hold it up, and the Corps of Engineers wouldn't accept that. So they had to go back and redesign a different system that didn't include the tiebacks going into the embankment. So that's what kind of delayed the project and requiring more time to have the consultant out there. Because while they're doing the redesign, Converse will still need to be out there to observe the other construction activities that were ongoing.
So their plan in terms of implementing a solution was not accepted by the Corps of Engineers, is that correct? Is that what you told me?
I'm sorry.
You said that the consultants' plan to implement a measure in correcting the problem that they had was rejected, right?
The contractor's proposed shoring plan was rejected by the Corps of Engineers.
That's what I thought you said. And so in terms of the options that they would have come up with, there were several options, but unfortunately, their option was not accepted because of, was there another option that they had and should have implemented that they could have known about in that interaction, or not necessarily so?
I don't know if that would be possible because, the contractor, once they come on board, one of their first responsibilities is to prepare submittals and submit them and develop the plan. And their shoring system, dewatering system, they do have to be reviewed by city personnel. And the city personnel accepted it, but the component of the shoring system that they designed was not approved by the Corps of Engineers, which that they have jurisdiction. The tiebacks, these anchors were going to extend beyond the property line into the embankment of the channel, into their area, and they wouldn't approve that. So ultimately what happened was the contractor go back and redesign the shoring system to not have those components.
Sure. Okay, and I understand that that is the reason for the additional funding that is necessary to improve the project.
Yeah, the need for the additional funding is for our consultant to be out there to do the monitoring of the contractor's work. And this need to redesign the dewatering system and the shoring system delayed the project. So we still need the consultant to monitor and support those elements. But in the meantime, other aspects of the project were moving forward. So Converse was on site doing those other aspects. But now the duration of the project is going to be longer, so we're going to have them out there longer to do the monitoring for the other components that were eventually approved. And that's why there's a need for additional funding for the consultant support.
And what did we estimate in terms of completion of the project, in terms of times? What was the time period that we anticipated completion of the project?
Right now, the project is expected to be completed in April of 2025.
That's including this new
Yes.
extension?
Correct.
April of 2025, you said?
April 2025.
Okay. All right, thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Any other questions, colleagues? Hearing none. Any objections? Hearing none either. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 2 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, VP. Thank you, Dr. Davis, for seconding it. Mr. Knight, we have a first by Vice President Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 2 forward and forthwith.
Very good. We will take a roll call vote on item number 2, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corsand.
Aye.
All ayes, and the item is approved and will move forward forthwith.
Very well. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Good seeing you.
Yep. Thank you. Nice seeing you. Have a good day, everyone.
Yes, have a good day and good week as well. Moving on to item number 3, this is a request in Council Districts 3 and 7 for task order solicitation number 73 and number 74, Geocentric Consultants, pre-qualified on-call consultants list, Roger Jessup Youth Center and Serrania Restroom Project. Recommending the board to, 1, authorize the city engineer to issue the task to Geocentric Consultants from the pre-qualified on-call list for wastewater environmental engineering service list to provide engineering, design, and construction support services for the Roger Jessup Youth Center as stated in Task Order 73 with a budget authority of $300,000, including contingency, and the Serrania Restroom Project as stated in Task Order 74 with a budget authority of $100,000, including contingency. And this morning, we have Mr. Fierce here. Mr. Fierce, good to see you. Haven't seen you all year.
Yes, likewise.
Welcome.
Good morning.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Steve Fierce, Principal Architect at the Bureau of Engineering. And so this is to issue the task order solicitation number 73 and 74 to Geosyntec Consultants from the pre-qualified on-call consultant list to provide cost estimating, structural, electrical, and civil engineering design and construction support services for the Roger Jessup Youth Center as stated in the task order solicitation number 73 with a budget authority of $300,000 including contingency, and the Sierra restroom project as stated in TOS number 74 with a budget authority of $100,000 including contingency. The BOE will be providing the remainder of the design services in-house. Both of these projects are specified under the Proposition K LA for Kids program ballot measure and requires the design and construction of a youth center at the Roger Jessup Park and the design and construction of the restroom facility at the Sariana Park. TOS number 73, which is the Roger Jessup Youth Center, located at 12401 West Osborne Street, and it's in Council District 7, includes the demolition of the existing 3,600 square foot building and the construction of a 3,600 square foot new youth center. The Bureau of Engineering Architectural Division will provide the design services for the project aside from the requested cost estimating, structural, electrical, and civil engineering design and construction support services for this project. TOS number 74, the Sariana Restroom Project, located at 20865 Wells Drive, and that's in Council District 3, includes a rehabilitation of an existing 750 square foot restroom facility and the installation of a new prefab restroom at the Sierra Park. And the BOE Architectural Division will provide design services for the project aside from the requested cost estimating, electrical, and civil engineering design and construction support services for this project. A TOS was posted on November 15th, 2022 on the Los Angeles Regional Alliance Marketplace for Procurement, it was RAMP, for the 24 pre-qualified on-call consultants. And a non-mandatory pre-proposal job walk was conducted on November 22nd, 2022. One firm submitted a proposal, which is Geosyntec Consultants. Geosyntec Consultants' proposal was determined to be responsive to the scope of work, as their proposal demonstrated their ability to deliver similar projects on time and within budget. This task will be subject to the Business Inclusion Program outreach requirements, and due to the limited scope of work, the consultant achieved 69.48% for MBE and 69.48% for SBE for TOS number 73, and for TOS number 74, they achieved 72.15% for MBE and 72.15% for SBE. Both projects are specified under the Prop K LA for Kids program ballot measure, and funding is provided in the Proposition K specified fund accounts. There is no impact to the general fund for either TOS. This concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fierce, for that. So just for my clarification, for the youth, for the first project, the Roger Jessup Youth Center, we're designing the youth center itself, right?
That's right.
And then the second project, Council District 3, we're designing and also doing the construction for the restroom,
That's right.
only the restroom.
We're refurbishing an existing 750 square foot restroom, and then we're going to be installing a new prefab restroom in addition.
Okay, understood. Any questions, colleagues? Hearing none. Any objections? Hearing none. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 3 forward and forthwith? Thank you. I have a one for first by VP and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 3. Mr. Knight, forward and forthwith.
Yes, we'll take a roll call vote on item number 3, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corsand.
Aye.
All ayes. Item number 3 will move is approved and will move forward forthwith.
Thank you, Mr. Fierce. Everybody wants to make sure we have this. Nobody's going to say no to a youth center.
Thank you.
Moving on, thank you so much, Mr. Fierce. Have a good week. Moving on to item number 4. This is a request in Council District 10. Mr. Tran, good to see you, sir. Again, I am going to read just the title, and if it's okay with you, I'm just going to read, and everybody else in here, 6, 7, and 8. Are those the most well, not that they're all substantial, but these are the ones that are for the public to hear, right? 6, 7, and 8?
Yes.
Okay. So let me, and then I'll let you do the other ones. This is a street closure, Wilshire Boulevard between Western Avenue and St. Andrews Place, Metro West Side Purple Line Extension Project, Section 1. There's 8 recommendations for the board. First, 1 through 5, I'm gonna let Mr. Tran handle those, and I am gonna read in the record, for the record, 6, 7, and 8. Recommendation 6, adopt the West Side Purple Line Extension, Section 1, decking removal and street restoration utilizing weekend closures of Wilshire Boulevard beginning March 1st, 2024 at 9 p.m. and ending March 25th at 6 a.m. Transmittal number 4. Recommendation number 7, specify that the Metro Transit Division of Bureau of Engineering, located at 1149 South Broadway, the board located at 200 North Spring Street, and other relevant City of Los Angeles departments are custodians of the documents of or other material which constitute the record of the proceedings upon which the board decision is based. And 8, approve temporary closure of Wilshire Boulevard between Western Avenue and St. Andrews Place for 4 consecutive weekends beginning March 1st, 2024, and ending March 25th, 2024, subject to the conditions identified within this report. So basically, every weekend in March, pretty much.
That is correct.
Okay. Mr. Tran, good morning and welcome.
Good
You
morning.
hadn't been here for a while.
That's true. We're doing pretty well.
Yeah,
Many metro transportation project hasn't
exactly.
full street closure yet.
Thank you so much. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I would like to give you my report now. Good morning, President Garcia, Commissioner, and board members. My name is Curtis Chen. I'm from the Metro Transit Division of Bureau of Engineering. Before you, I'm here for the Metro West Side Subway Extension Section 1 project and its contractor, Senska Trailer Shea, also known as STS, are requesting to closure Wilshire Boulevard for 4 consecutive weekends beginning March 1, 2024 through Monday, March 25th, 2024 to facilitate the removal of the temporary decking system on Wilshire Boulevard between Western Avenue and St. Andrews Place. This is where they connect the existing terminus of the existing Purple Line to the future Purple Line. The foreclosure will benefit by installing a short-term, semi-permanent traffic control arrangement that eliminate daily change to traffic control patterns, improving both public and worker safety. Full street closure weekend begin on Friday at 9 p.m. and will reopen at 6 a.m. on Monday, the following Monday. There are 2 weekends that we asking for to be contingent of this work, weekend 3 and 4. Hopefully we don't need them. They are contingency just in case of unforeseen condition or such as rain. As you probably are aware, we have pretty bad rain a couple of weeks ago. So technically only 2 weekend work, but 2 other weekends for contingency, just in case we run into rain. All major submittal associated with this work had been reviewed and approved by the Bureau of Engineering. In addition, LADOT had reviewed and approved worksite traffic control plan for the proposed closure and did not expect the proposed work will result in any new or substantial traffic impact. In addition, the Traffic Management Committee will continue to review traffic impact permit to minimize any conflict with ongoing construction permit activity within the vicinity of closure. As part of the review of this street closure request, Bureau of Engineering Environmental Management Division had reviewed the environmental documentation associated with the street closure and recommend in this board should fulfill the board obligation under the CEQA requirement. Metro is keeping the neighboring community informed about the closure and impact will have on them. Both Council District 5 and 10 will inform, and they had concurred to the closure. In addition, Metro Community Relation Team have performed public outreach with this closure and have various meetings with the community and the stakeholder. Also, they have hand-delivered street closure notice to the resident and the business in this vicinity of the closure. Staff from DOT, BOE, Metro, as well as the contractor, STS, are here in the audience to answer any question you may have. That conclude my report for today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tran, for that. First, I want to recognize that you are well in advance to the street closure.
We heard you before, and
This is like the first time we have like at least 2 weeks to like ponder around this.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Appreciate the work that Ala Metro has done to get us to this place. Appreciate that. You also talked about some outreach methods that that Metro has utilized already, letting the neighbors know. And are we going to put some kind of signage as well?
oh, absolutely. There will be a dynamic sign placed at least a week before the closure to notify motorists. And I like also mention that, there are various meetings with the community and stakeholder. And I like to introduce Mr. Ned Racine. He's the community outreach officer. He'll give you more detail on all the outreach. Ned?
Thank you, Mr. Tran.
Board members, we use the same technique that we did with intersections at La Brea, La Cienega, and Fairfax, which is a variety of outreach methods, including walking men distributing 6,000 construction notices within a half a mile of the work area. Also, we delivered 45 packets of information, including construction notices in 3 languages from Wilton to Oxford. That was door to door. And also we had 2 webinars that we invited stakeholders to, where we used basically a PowerPoint presentation to show the extent of the work and what it would look like to people on the street and businesses. I think 3 things that mitigated people's concerns was 1, the work is on the weekend only. 2, it doesn't close Wilshire Western, one of the busiest streets and intersections in LA. And 3, the work doesn't start until Friday 9 p.m. Many of the businesses in this area are closed by then. So the people I spoke to felt they could live with it, and they were also encouraged by the fact that this is the last decking we have to remove from that area. So I think they see the light at the end of the tunnel.
No pun intended. Thank you for that. All right. Any questions, colleagues? Thank you for that, sir, as well. Vice President, no questions from VP. Any questions? Commissioner Corson.
Thank you. Just one clarifying question. I know this one does not include the master cooperative agreement. If you just wanted to talk through to us what the difference or what elements from that new agreement are missing from this one.
So the new master cooperative agreement really serving the new Measure R that past few years recently by the voters, and many more different type of delivery method will be introduced by Metro to accelerate the project. So because of that, and new involvement or from the beginning involvement that require the city to be involved at early stage to identify problem and issues and try to avoid those problem that we run in training, design, or construction that could prolong the project schedule and so on. So many benefit with the new MCA, and the new MCA is in a way tailored to the new or the recent project. This Purple Line and 2 other segments in construction. This one specifically about almost 10 years. So some of the activity that require for new project that it's already past the stage, the level of this project. So we are expecting this project to be complete or at least in operation or revenue in a year or 2 very soon here. So it would be too much disruption if we still try to using the new MCA, then everything will have to be restarted, and we don't want to do that. So.
No, I get that. I just wanted to know what elements were missing because that is supposed to simplify the process on closures and communicating.
Yeah, gotcha. So like in the past, there were not any intent or minimal involvement from the early phase on the city side. So with the new MCA, it requires both the city and Metro to be involved in much earlier at the planning stage to resolve some of the issue about closure or when they can do work or when they shouldn't be doing work. It gives the stakeholder more saying, more involvement. So that's a big changes that we anticipate that, both the Metro and the city stakeholder will be involved more frequently and more often and early in the development of the project. No, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Corson. Any other questions?
I want to
Sure,
say one
Mr.
more
Tran.
thing. I want to commend the team. Initially they wanted 10-day consecutive closure, and if you recall, we went back on quite a few presentation we asked for a weekend only, and your boy suggest this closure should have been on the weekend as well. Is that 10 consecutive weekday closure? That would be very disruption. The team went back, they looked over it, they did some prior work, replanned everything, and tried to condense down to 2 weekends, technically only 2 work weekends. So I want to commend them for that, and thank you for your suggestion, due to closure on the weekend. And they took on that challenge and they did it, so.
Thank you for that. I did recognize that when the gentleman came up and spoke about the outreach efforts.
Yeah.
I did recognize the efforts of doing this on the weekend, especially on such a dense and very heavy traffic area. And thank you for doing that. I did see and recognize that you guys have worked together to the best for that area. And thank you for that. I do appreciate that. The residents of the area really appreciate it too when we work around the norms of that area.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. We do appreciate that. And thank you to the Metro team for being so flexible now on doing all of that. Thank you. I was able to recognize that. So thank you for that. Any other questions or comments, colleagues? And the last 2 weekends are on contingency, so we might not even use them, right?
Correct, that is correct. Yes.
Yeah, that we have come a long way from many years of doing these street closures. We have definitely come a long way, and it's evident right now. All right, colleagues, any objections on the closure? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 4 forward and forthwith? Thank you, VP Villegas. Thank you, Dr. Davis. Mr. Knight, there's a first by VP Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 4 forward and forthwith.
Very well. We'll take a roll call vote on item number 4, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas. Aye. President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corson.
Aye.
And the item is adopted, subject to conditions forthwith.
Very well. Thank you so much, Mr. Tran, for this morning, and to all the Metro team and everybody else that's here on this item. Thank you so much for working hard on getting us to this point. Thank you. Have a good day and a good evening today. All right, colleagues, moving on to item number 5. This is a request in Council District 8 from the Bureau of Street Services. Approval of project Broadway Manchester Active Transportation Project, recommending the board to 1, review and consider the initial study mitigated negative declaration IS-AM, not A, M and D. 2, find that on the basis of the whole record, there is no substantial evidence that the project with the implementation of the proposed mitigation measures will have significant effect on the environment, and that the M and D reflects the city's independent judgment and analysis. Okay. 3, adopt the M and D. 4, adopt the mitigation monitoring program, which is incorporated in the final IS-M and D. 5, specify that the documents constituting the record of proceedings in the matter in the files of the Department of Public Works, Bureau of Engineering, Environmental Management Group, and Bureau of Street Services located at 1149 Broadway. And 6, approve the project as described in the IS. And this morning, we have not Albazi here, but we have Ms. Gina Ling. Ms. Gina Ling, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, members of the board, and happy Valentine's Day. There we go. Can you hear me? Okay. Gina Lang, landscape architect with Bureau of Street Services, Streets LA. I also have our partner BOE from the Environmental Management Group, Norman Mundy, in case there's any specific CEQA questions. They also assist us in our CEQA review. This item before you is to request the board authority to review and consider the Broadway Manchester Initial Study Mitigated Negative Declaration, ISMND, and adopt and forward this report with transmittals to the City Council. Per the CEQA, the California Environmental Quality Act, we are to disclose and evaluate any significant environmental impacts of our projects and adopt all feasible mitigation measures to reduce those impacts. This project, Streets LA is very excited to be part of it. It's called the Broadway Manchester, also called Broadway Sur. It is a 2.8 mile stretch of project located on Manchester Avenue from Broadway to South Vermont Avenue. And also on Broadway, it stretches from Manchester to Imperial Highway. So this is a little L shape. This project is located within Council District A in the underserved community. It is also CDA's flagship project, and we have bi-weekly meeting with CDA, and they're very proud of this project moving forward. Streets LA is very excited to construct this project because it exemplifies Streets LA's one infrastructure concept. And this concept basically integrates a holistic approach to the infrastructure improvements by bringing together active transportation elements, what we call it the gray, green, and blue, which basically relates to transportation, urban greening, and stormwater quality in all one project. The project improvement for Broadway Manchester will include Class 4 bike lanes, enhancing pedestrian access path, provide additional lighting and signals for safety, planting additional trees and landscape for urban cooling. As part of the Safe Clean Water Measure W, the project will also construct stormwater treatment and reuse those water to landscape the irrigation landscape. So with the stormwater infrastructure, the project would require excavation to a maximum of 30 feet. During the initial draft ISMND report, we circulated for 30 days to the public for review and comment. It was issued on October 5th, 2023. The draft ISMND was also available online on BOE's website. A notice of intent, notice availability, was published with the Los Angeles County Recorder on October 3rd, as well as it was submitted to the Mark Twain Library. On October 5th, the NOI-NOA was also published in the LA Times, and it was also mailed out to all the interest parties and also the properties within 300 feet of the property site. During this public review, Streets LA received 4 correspondents commenting the ISMND. There are copies of our comments and responses to the 4 comments. It's located in our draft ISMND section in transmittal number 1. As a result of these comments, a minor modification was made to 2 of the project design features related to the approximate depth of the excavation location and also the soil testing. However, none of these comments received require any changes in the conclusion or findings of the ISMND or any changes in the mitigation measures of the monitoring program. The project construction schedule will be about 2 years, and it should be completed in 2026. I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you for that, Mr. Lang, Ms. Lang, for that. Any questions, colleagues? Dr. Davis?
Oh, none, excuse me.
And no one else? I think we're all excited about this, to be honest with you. I am. I'm looking forward to making this happen, and especially in this area. Is this the first one infrastructure project?
I would think so for Streets LA, correct.
It is the first one.
Yes.
Very nice. Okay, well, I look forward to seeing what other areas you're looking into implementing this one infrastructure concept as well. I think this is well-deserved in this area, and I'm excited to support this item. With that said, hearing that none of my colleagues have, Vice President Villegas?
Just a comment, just
Sure.
a comment. Yeah, just to recognize Streets LA just for the immense work that they've been doing on this project. They were able to get active transportation funding for this and also some additional funds from the Safe Clean Water Program for additional tree planting and greening efforts, natural greening efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate that so much. So if this is, have you done the groundbreaking or not yet?
We have for CD8.
For CD8?
Yes.
Will, and you said this will be completed by 2026, so 2 years of construction?
Correct.
Okay, understood. Excited for that. All right, any other questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 5 forward and forthwith? Thank you, VP Villegas. Thank you, Dr. Davis. Mr. Knight, we have a first by VP Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 5 forward and forthwith.
Very good. And we'll take a roll call vote on item number 5, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas, President Pro Tem Davis, and Commissioner Coruscant.
Aye.
All ayes. Item number 5 is adopted and will move forward forthwith.
Thank you.
Very much. Keep us posted, please, when, as you go along, especially for the, like the grand opening or when it's actually completed. Thank you. All right, moving on to item number 6. This is a request from the Bureau of Street Services for in all council district miscellaneous request to designate Bureau of Street Services as administrator reinvestment in accessibility, infrastructure, and streetscape enhancements Raise LA Fund, recommending the board to, 1, authorize the Bureau of Street Services to be designated as the administrator of the Raise LA Fund. And this morning we have Mr. Lance Usishi here. Lance, welcome.
Good morning. Lance Owishi with the Bureau of Street Services, and happy Valentine's Day to everybody. I'm here today to request the board's authority to designate Streets LA as the administrator of the new Raise LA Fund. A little bit of history about the fund itself. Back in November of 2022, in anticipation of the new STAP, Sidewalk and Transit Amenities Program and Contract, or what we call STAP, the City Council took the action to direct the city attorney to create an ordinance that would enable STAP revenues received through the program to be reinvested into the program. And so the city attorney took that task upon itself, and in June of 23, it forwarded a draft ordinance to the city council for its consideration. And throughout the summer, that ordinance went through a couple of different city council committees. And in September of 23, the city council approved that draft ordinance. And the ordinance number is, let's see, it's 188009 is the official ordinance number. And in October of 2023, the mayor concurred with that, with the council's action. The ordinance then went through a 30-day posting period, and it became effective as of November 22nd, 2023. Following the official execution of that ordinance, there was a question that kind of came up as to who would be the administrator of the fund. And per Section D of that ordinance, it says the administrator of the fund, the Raise LA Fund, is the Board of Public Works or its designee. And so there was a need for us to, because we were receiving monies from the Transito Vector STAP program, and so we wanted to be able to deposit monies into the new Raise LA Fund, but we didn't have that administrative authority to do so. And so we initiated discussions with the Office of Accounting because they're the board's wing that is dealing with finances. And through discussions that we had with Office of Accounting in November and December, we came to the conclusion that the best place for the administration of the fund would actually rest with Streets LA. And part of that had to do with resources within the Office of Accounting itself and their capacity to administer the fund. It also has to do with the fact that Streets LA, as the contract manager for STAP, is the most knowledgeable about where those monies need to be used for. One of the purposes of the fund is to actually repay any of the capital expenses for the program, including for the new bus shelters and other transit amenities through the program. And so because Streets LA is managing the STAP contract, we are receiving the revenues from that. We're able to ensure that those monies are appropriated properly to address the needs of the program, as well as other needs of the fund itself, which includes doing streetscape-related projects that are first and last mile improvements that will improve transit. So it can include doing projects that plant new trees, do transit stop improvements, anything that would, again, improve the benefit and quality of life for people that are using transit. And so we actually have a design build section within Streets LA that's able to implement projects of that nature as well. And so, again, the thought is that when there are excess monies that enable us to pursue additional projects, that's another use of the fund that we'll be pursuing. So initially, the fund will be paying back the general fund. One of the sections of the new ordinance requires the first $6 million to go to the general fund. Thereafter, the second $3 million goes to the city council, and anything that's earned over and above that is allocated to paying back or utilizing for program expenses for staff. And so in calendar year, not fiscal year, calendar year 23, the STAP program generated $9.5 million. We anticipate that in calendar year 24, that should increase to somewhere between $10 to $12 million. And as we start to install new furniture, that revenue income to the city will increase and thereby enable staff to cover those capital costs for the program, one of them being the Public Works Trust Fund loan that the board was so gracious to award to the STAP program. And so with that money, we can use the Raise LA Fund to reimburse the Public Works Trust Fund loan according to the schedule that we had agreed to. And so that's another reason why we'd like to be designated as the administrator of the fund. And so with that, I'll take any questions if you have them.
Thank you so much, Mr. Oishi. I hope. Oishi. Lance, I'm just used to calling you Lance. I don't have any questions. I know I was very briefed on this, but this is not our normal protocol, where usually our Office of Accounting would have taken on this account, for lack of a better word, correct?
It's not a typical situation. The Bureau does have the responsibility to administer what is known as Fund 43D, or now it's been renamed the Council District Discretionary Street Furniture Fund. That's a mouthful. But we do administer that directly, and that was written to the actual ordinance language itself that created that section. And so, again, the Bureau, it's not that the Bureau is not managing a special fund of that nature, so this would just be a second fund that we would be managing.
Got it. Thank you. And would this be under your division, Mr. Lance?
Yes, it would.
Okay. Is that other fund, I know it's not relevant to this, but is that other fund under your division as well?
It is. It's under our direct oversight.
Okay. Okay. Any questions, colleagues?
Just one.
Vice President Villegas?
Thank you. And thank you, Lance, Mr. Oishi, just for taking the time to talk to all of us about this project and about this just handling of some of the funding for it. How often, just my question, how often would you be, I guess, cross-referencing or sharing information on how the fund is doing?
Sure. I think as of last December, we had decided that we would be updating the board on a quarterly basis. And so during our quarterly basis, we plan to provide updates on the management and income and expenditures of the Raise LA Fund.
Thank you. And I realize that you're already on the agenda for, the STAP program, so that'll include this as well.
That will include this, yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that, the financial piece to it as well. Any other questions, colleagues? Any objections? I don't have an objection of deviating from kind of our norm. I also would like to see what, evaluate the effectiveness of having it in the Bureau.
Sure.
Okay. So we'll connect throughout the year to see how we're doing with this, but appreciate it. Okay, any other questions, objections, colleagues? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 6 forward and forthwith? Thank you, VP Villegas. A second by Dr. Davis. Mr. Knight, we have a first by VP Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 6 forward and forthwith.
Very good, and we'll take a roll call vote on item number 6, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis. And Commissioner Corson.
Aye.
All ayes, and item number 6 is adopted and will move forward forthwith.
Thank you very much, Lance. Look
Thank you so
forward to
much.
working with you on this.
We do too.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much to the Street Services team that's here supporting Lance. And thank you for being here this morning. We are now moving on to item number 7, although item number 7 has been continued to February 23rd of 2024. And now we are done with our voting items and moving on to our oral report section. And this morning, we have our Climate Emergency Mobilization Office update with the CMO office here in the house. Good morning to everyone that is part of our CMO office, and good morning to you, Ms. Segura.
Good morning. Thank you for having us, commissioners. We're really happy to be here to provide you with some updates. And even though operations and staff growth is at the end of my presentation, let's start with that. As you all know, we just recently hired a deputy heat officer who has been with the city for over 20 years, Gordon Haynes. Why don't you say hello? So we're excited. And we also just recently hired Deborah Moray, who's also here as a commission executive assistant. So welcome to them. And then Chris, you've already met Amy Clark, Christine Lee, and Rebecca Guerra Day. So we're a complete team now. Everybody's been hired. There's no vacancies.
You're full.
We made it before the hiring freeze.
Yeah.
So we're very excited about that.
Kudos to that.
Thank
Welcome to both of you. Appreciate you having here up at the Board of Public Works. So thank you. And of course, we look forward to working with all of you in the next coming.
Great, yeah. They've already been a great help, and they've only been with us a couple of weeks. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
So because this is open to the public, I'm going to restate that this is our semi-annual report for the Climate Emergency Mobilization Office. And the purpose of our office is to co-create equitable climate solutions and heat-resilient, thriving, healthy communities for all in the city of Los Angeles. And I'm going to start with our programs, commissioners. For our programs, we have the Heat Action and Resilience Plan, and that's in draft form right now. We should have it in completion by mid-June. It'll be a multi-phased approach. So we're calling this phase 1. As you know, not only are these kinds of plans living documents, but the first phase is the hardest phase because that's when you get folks on board and where you do most of the design and the planning. We do believe that the Heat Action and Resilience Plan has a lot of intersections with our climate infrastructure. So we're having discussions and convenings with departments, bureaus, divisions to get them aligned and on board. We'll have at least one more of those before phase 1 of that Heat Action Resilience Plan is submitted. But we plan to do a lot of learning and reflecting on the first phase for phase 2, and phase 2 will come out in year 2, right? Another program that we've had now for 3 years is the Heat Relief for LA campaign. I'll get into the details of that in a second. The Climate Equity LA series, and our priority policy areas are heat and climate action, and I'll get into what that means for CMO in a second. We already talked about the growth of our staff. We're also going to talk about our grants exploration, the projects that we're working on with the mayor, and the resources that we want to share with you. So I've just talked briefly about the Heat Action Resilience Plan and the interdepartmental convenings we're having. Also, we've invited the mayor's office to those conversations. Kind of related and not necessarily outlined in this report, is that we've also been asked by council to advise on a climate action and adaptation plan, the governance strategy and the funding that could be available for it, So that report is now with the CAO, and they're going to make a recommendation as to how we move forward and if we move forward with the citywide climate action and adaptation plan. The heat relief campaign last year was really successful. As you know, it was on bus shelters and bus benches, et cetera. We plan to do that again this year, but we are inviting to work with the Department of Water and Power, the Emergency Management Department, in addition to the nonprofits that we're working with. So we'll come back to you on that because I think it's going to be an important collaboration. We don't have that much funding at CMO for these kinds of campaigns, but these other departments do. So I think it'll be supportive in ensuring the dissemination of heat risks to the general public is much more seen and effective than it even was last year. And some of the results from last year are in probably page, I think, 4, where it says Climate Equity LA Series Metrics. We had a total of 887 participants in our CELA series. I was part of at least 9 panels. It feels like more. This year, we're having our first community assembly on March 14th. We're expecting over 100 people to be part of that. There are 15 nonprofit organizations and departments. The departments are a separate number, but there are 15 nonprofit organizations on the planning committee, and we're meeting again with them next week. So we're hoping, it's going to be at LA Trade Tech College, right? Yeah. So, they've been really great. They've really helped us ensure it's going to be a smooth, awesome experience. And all of you are obviously invited to attend. So in terms of our priority areas, obviously heat mitigation, heat response, and adaptation planning. I think I've mentioned before, the heat mitigation also overlaps with public safety and public health, and that's why we worked also with the Mayor's Office of Public Safety and the Emergency Management Department. I serve on the Adverse Weather Task Force, so even when there's extreme storms, I'm on those Emergency Operations Center calls, which is really helpful because it helps me plan for heat season and how we can improve the deployment of resources more equitably to the areas that are most impacted by extreme heat. In terms of our heat action and resilience plan, I think it relates to the deployment of resources. When we do emergency response, we're using the UCLA heat map because it tells us where the most harm is, where we have the greatest number of injuries and deaths as a result of extreme heat throughout Los Angeles. It overlaps, not surprisingly, with CalEnviroscreen, where we have the greatest amount of pollution burden, the greatest amount of existing health conditions, because when heat hits particulate matter and air pollution, it increases the exposure level to individuals, to humans. And if you already have asthma, or if you already have a pre-existing condition, that really has an impact because it deoxygenates your body and it makes it harder for you to breathe, and that puts a lot of people into arrest, and that's why we have more 911 calls, more emergency room visits, and the idea is to ensure that we have the deployment of resources that we need in the areas with greatest vulnerability so that we have less mortality, right, in terms of an emergency response scenario. In terms of prevention, what we're planning and what we're hoping the heat action plan does is increases the number of bus shelters, shade, whether tree canopy or shade structures, hydration stations in the first last mile between people's homes and where they catch the bus or where they walk to school. So we're collaborating with other bureaus and other departments to ensure that they have awareness of our heat map and our heat risk map. We're working with USC's Public Exchange, and they have graciously offered to create a dashboard for us, and an expandable dashboard that will help us measure the accomplishments of not just CMO, but the entire city with regards to heat mitigation heat adaptation and response. So there's a lot of things in the works there that are interconnected to the entire city and other departments and public works, and that's the beautiful challenge ahead of us, right? To see how we can help align and coordinate to maximize those resources in the frontline communities that most need it, so that we can accelerate both climate solutions and heat mitigation at the same time, to reduce mortality, to reduce emergency room visits, but also to reduce GHGs and to make our cities more livable for everyone through, again, integrated planning and alignment with the Board of Public Works, with the bureaus, with the departments, and also with the mayor's office. So I'll stop there in case you have any questions, but we have a lot more information in the packets and the slides that we provided, and I'm here for whatever questions you might have.
Is that the end of your report, Ms. Segura?
I think so, yes.
Okay. All right. Any questions? I have Vice President Villegas.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, President Garcia, and thank you so much for your report. Thank you for just sharing a little bit about the upcoming meetings. I just wanted to see if you could just add us to your listserv. Just add our emails to your listserv so that we're able to receive those at the end.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for making them public. I know that we see just a lot of stuff coming through, but once we get it on the calendar, it's, mindful of it and
So-
being able to attend.
For the newsletter, you mean? That
No, I get your newsletter. I get
Okay.
it already. I'm just saying for the climate equity, your metrics series.
Oh, the community assembly in March?
Yes.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. And then just on the various motions and policy issues that council's been doing, how has the follow-up been? How's the additional work, I guess, or the additional requests by, the various files that we have here from council? How has that been for you and for your staff?
Well,
Because I know they vary just on different issues.
Yeah.
But
it has been a lot of additional work for our staff, and most of that was done prior to hiring, our deputy heat officer. But I think now that he's on board, that's going to be more helpful. But we've met the deadlines of the reports that have been asked of us.
Okay.
And we have been able to present when requested for those reports as well. It hasn't been easy, but we've been able to accomplish it thus far. But I do want to thank you for asking that question, because I think we need to learn how to navigate those requests and others that are not part of our regular work plan or program plan for CMO.
Yeah.
And I definitely have been thinking a lot about how to, diplomatically navigate those requests so that it doesn't burden us from meeting our overall goals for CMO and the Board of Public Works.
Yeah, it seems like, just a common theme here is a lot of collaboration with other departments and just to be able to have them know about the priorities that CMO has and just kind of coordinate that effort.
Yes, I agree. We need, we've been struggling with that.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. That's all from me.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Any other questions, colleagues? None? I don't have any. Did you say that the March 14th meeting, that's your first community assembly for this year?
Yes, and we have the commission meeting next week, the first Climate Emergency Mobilization Committee meeting next week, and then we're planning the series for the Climate Equity LA, partially at that assembly meeting, but we've already begun to identify potential dates for the Climate Equity LA series, and we've already identified dates for all of the commission meetings, and we have, I think, 15 commissioners now.
Oh,
So
good.
we have more than we've ever had.
Yeah.
And some of them are going to be attending their very first meeting this next week.
Okay, so the next week meeting is different than your March 14th meeting, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so what's your March 14th meeting? Maybe I wrote it wrong.
Okay, so the March 14th meeting is basically geared towards community and nonprofits that want to have a voice in shaping equitable climate policy for the city of Los Angeles.
Got it.
So we invited 25 organizations to be part of the planning committee. 15 of them accepted
Okay.
from all across Los Angeles, and they're going to then help us with the outreach and bring people to the community assembly from their constituency and their communities. We hope to have like an exhibit table there of some of the bureaus and departments that have strong programming and outcomes that relate to equitable climate solutions so that they get to meet them in person. We're going to have activities that help them convey to us what priorities they have, but also so that they know what the city of LA is doing with regards to equitable climate action. So it really helps us prioritize the theme of the Climate Equity LA series, or if they just want to have more town halls, right? Because we also have limited capacity. I think we can either do more town halls or do the Climate Equity LA series, but we can't do both. So it may be that this year we focus on town halls and just make our way across the city in different communities to, and I remember Councilmember Mike Davis recommended that last year. So I'm very, I still remember. So I think we're leaning in that direction because people really want to have a voice, and we're happy to have that.
I appreciate that very much. Yeah, I'm also interested to see, I know you'll do some evaluation of those town halls and some surveying of that town hall. I would want to see the outcomes of all of that, just kind of what the community's saying around the climate, just the climate efforts that we're doing throughout the city, not just heat, but everything else.
Everything else.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Absolutely.
Part of the original intent of the office was to share information between what the city's efforts are on climate emergency to the community, and especially at-risk communities or communities that normally would not get this information. So I'm excited to hear and see what the community is now saying and what they want to learn more about.
Right.
So I appreciate that. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for your team. And I also want to thank UCLA. I know they're probably not here, but given the fact that they're going to do a dashboard and they've been
USC.
Oh, it's USC.
USC is doing the dashboard, and UCLA. My apologies if I said UCLA. USC is doing the dashboard, but UCLA should be thanked because last year they did that heat report.
Yeah.
And they integrated frontline communities to tell us what their priorities were, and we'd be happy to circulate that again to the commissioners so that they could see the input from
Okay.
that series.
So let me get this straight. UCLA is the one letting you use their heat map? UCLA or USC?
UCLA heat map.
Uh-huh.
And then there's a UCLA heat focus group report that was done last year. And just this year, we're launching our relationship with USC Public Exchange to do the dashboard. And that's of interest to a lot of city departments like planning, also mayor's office and emergency management, because we're all seeking alignment, right, with the local hazard mitigation plan, with the climate vulnerability assessment, and then the ordinance required heat action and resilience plan. And we think this dashboard will help us get there. And
Yeah.
that's the whole strategy behind that.
Well, glad you're using two local schools, USC and UCLA. That's definitely, those are very high quality schools. So I want to make sure that, thank you for keeping it local.
Yes, we're very grateful to them for their collaboration and participation.
Got it. All right. I don't think that was it.
I think I did want to mention that in terms of our heat campaign, we collaborate with nonprofit organizations to distribute and disseminate the information in those local communities. And we applied for a grant to fund community health educators to fund them to do this work, not just ask them to do this work. So we'll see if we get that. And we are waiting for a response from the state of California for our the $10 million grant that we applied for. Just the Community
We haven't
Resilience
heard it
Centers
yet.
grant, exactly. And they'll release that information in April. So we'll see how that goes. But we are continuing to try to get funding for dissemination of information through nonprofit organizations throughout the city of Los Angeles. And then we have one more report I didn't tell you about. The council is considering additional funding for our libraries to help them serve as cooling centers during heat season. So my staff is doing an assessment and analysis of which libraries are a priority for additional funding to serve as resilience/cooling centers during the summer. And we're using the UCLA heat map and CalEnviro screen for that as well.
Your resilience and high cooling centers, are those temporary or those
They're libraries. They're part of our library system.
right?
So,
My question was, I'm sorry, my question was, are those temporary, like from a certain season? I think you said May through September, I think, but or are they gonna say like permanent? Because I know one is the heat cooling center, and then the other effort we were trying to do was the resilience center. So
Yeah, I think libraries are refuge for our public all year long. But during extreme weather, we want to put out more public announcements so people know that they can go there for refuge from extreme heat or storms, right? So they're open during hours of operation,
yeah,
and we're trying to promote more the ones that are open on Sundays. And in fact, we want to negotiate that other libraries that are in higher risk areas are open on Sundays as well to support Rec and Parks, because Rec and Parks has been the official cooling center, augmented cooling center for the city of LA. But it's clear that libraries play a pivotal role, and they're very willingly want to play that role. The general manager and the AGMs we've been in discussions with have been super cooperative and collaborative and want to support that process.
very nice. I wonder, have you explored either also the nonprofits you work with as cooling centers as well, or refugee centers? Okay.
Yes, we've been in discussion with several nonprofits that want to serve, and some of them also applied to the state of California for funding
Oh, good.
for the CRCs. And I think that's an important discussion because we don't want to provide too much duplication of effort in any one community. We want to spread out our resources, and we want them to know where we have resources so that they can provide resources where we don't have them. And we've had conversations with the nonprofits about this, with the state of California, with LA County, because I think it's important with limited resources to be strategic in terms of where we put our cooling centers. And that has been a really productive conversation we've also had with the emergency management department, and they've been amazing and cooperative and collaborative and integrated us into all of this work, right? Because it's in the charter that they do this work, but with open arms, they welcome CMO's support and
Great.
collaboration.
I like that. Thank you for that. All right, I think that's it on my end. Vice President Villegas?
I don't have,
Nothing?
just one more.
Okay.
Yeah, I did want to just ask just about the coordination and how you're working with, I think you have in your presentation, the mayor's projects for CMO.
Oh, right. Okay, hold on. Okay. So, for example, for the Olympic Games, they are obviously concerned about extreme heat and protecting the public and protecting their athletes. So they're asking our advice as Chief Heat Officer and Deputy Heat Officer how to strategically place resources and amenities to protect the public. So we're going to be advising them on that and giving them our plan. We understand they've already made some first mile, last mile strategic decision or planning. So we want to base it on their map and everything that they've already done so that we can just bring added value to that conversation. And so I'm working with Lizeth Rosales at the mayor's office on this particular project. And then for LAUSD, it was a project that was funded by C40 Again, Lizeth Rosales from the mayor's office, the deputy mayor of Energy and Environment requested our support and grades from first grade to high school presented Minecraft solutions for extreme heat and climate. And they were wonderful. Actually, we should share them in our
You
next
should.
newsletter.
Yeah.
We should share them with other bureaus and departments because part of their goal is to channel these young minds into these kinds of career decisions and positions in the future. It's a really beautiful project. And Rebecca Guerrade, since she's a Minecraft aficionado, served as the judge for that particular project.
Very nice. If we do adopt one, or if there's a winner to that, bring it to the board. We would love to see the presentation here. If they're more than willing to come here and present it to us.
Yes, I think that opportunity exists.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, we used to do that before COVID very much, have students come in and do presentations, especially if we were adopting something.
Okay.
So want to make sure that we kind of bring that back as well.
Absolutely. We'd
Yeah.
love to do that. Great. And then we're supporting a South Coast AQMD community air quality monitoring project. Many nonprofits are involved. So we help connect the AQMD with some of those nonprofit organizations. They're doing the body of the work, but we're just kind of a liaison and supporting that project. So we'll report back on that project to this body as well.
Okay.
But it just launched, it just started. And they're still in conversations negotiating who does what in those nonprofit organizations for the air monitoring of the AQMD. But thank you for asking. There is a lot that we didn't discuss today, but I have great support with my team, and we're all trying to create better boundaries and alignment so that CMO doesn't shoulder too much of that responsibility. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Any other questions, colleagues? Hearing none, thank you to the CMO staff. Thank you, Ms. Segura, for your presentation this
Thank you
morning.
all.
And
Thank you.
welcome to the new folks joining our team. We look forward to working with you here at Public Works. But with that, thank you all. Have a good rest of the day and enjoy your Valentine's Day today.
Thank you.
All right, TJ Knight, have we cleared today's desk?
Yes, we have. May I just take a moment before the presiding officer makes a motion to adjourn? We do have a caller who has raised their hand a couple times in this meeting as an offered public comment and comment on the audio quality of the meeting. I would just like to offer James the option to tune in to the audio channel that the board broadcasts all of its meetings on via YouTube. So some attendees will attend via Zoom, and they will mute the Zoom audio, and they will attend and they will turn on another device if they have another device, and turn on the YouTube broadcast. And you can link to that at the first page of all of our agendas has a lacity.org government follow meetings, Board of Public Works meetings URL that you can go to. You can also, anyone can tune into our meetings on the audio via the 213-621-CITY phone number. And so you could potentially have two devices, including a laptop or a phone, or you could just tune in via the phone. However, those two options of the YouTube and the phone do not offer the ability to provide input. So I just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Okay, although I want to make sure that James knows that we did hear his public comment loud and clear. And if there's additional, please email TJ Knight, and he will make sure that we get that message along. With that said, TJ Knight, we have cleared today's desk. It is now 11:38, and this meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Have a good rest of the day and a good week. See you all Friday.